Is being an influencer still really worth it? Real talk.
So today we're going to talk about, is it worth it to be an influencer in 2026? We're going to give a breakdown of what it is to be an influencer and really how it's changed in today's landscape.
So let's first talk numbers. This isn't a niche industry anymore. It has grown and blown up over the years. The creator economy has gone full industry. It has blown up. There are estimates that literally it's valued at hundreds of billions of dollars.
I know, it's wild. And just to break it down, in the United States alone, this year in 2026, they're estimating that companies are going to be spending over $40 billion.
Whew. What's crazy is that the creator economy is growing way faster than traditional media.
I know. And when you think about radio ads, TV ads, random just online blog post ads, those have been around for decades now. And it's just been a couple of years that influencing and all of these kind of content models are popping up.
Let's even think about it just in terms of careers, right? If you were to think of a marketing team a decade ago, maybe a little bit more, you would never see an influencer manager. That wasn't really a thing.
No, but now I see them all over LinkedIn. Every single company, whether in your beauty, fashion, any kind of consumer facing company is going to have a head of influencer or even multiple roles dedicated to managing influencers.
So it used to be a fun, cute hobby of having an Instagram page and being a creator or an influencer now is a full blown entrepreneurial muscle. It's an enterprise.
Welcome to Glow Job, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter.
So what does it mean to be an influencer now in 2026?
So The Economist recently did the study, and they actually were able to determine that 57% of Gen Z would actually consider being an influencer as a career, as a full-time job. And this to me is just so bananas because not even Gen Z, but I'm imagining Gen Alpha when the little kids are writing down oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And these kids they're saying influencer.
I know. I've met some of these kids and they tell me they want to be YouTubers. And I'm like, wait, you don't want to be a fireman or a doctor? You want to be a YouTuber?
But it makes a lot of sense on the surface, right? Because you get the free stuff, the brand trips. Who doesn't want to go on tripping with Tarte? You know what I mean? So they get that. There's the money, obviously. And I think a lot of them really just want to avoid the dreaded office job.
Mm-hmm. But the question for us, because, glow job, beauty and business, is it still worth it to be an influencer in today's day and age? I guess the answer really depends on what you define as being worth it.
So if you're looking for something like virality, clout, fame, that kind of ended and peaked years ago. But on the other hand, if you're looking for revenue, business deals, opportunity to make money, then yes, it really is. But with a caveat, I think today's influencers, they really have to approach influencing running a business. Do you know what I mean? It's something that you do have to kind of clock in and out of, just like you would an office job.
Being an influencer now is kind of a startup. You are the company and you are also the product that you're selling.
Yes, you're running a business and the product is yourself.
Yeah. In 2026, success is no longer, I hit 100,000 followers or I got free product. It's something way more measurable now.
Yes, brands are really just looking for conversion. We hear this word all the time, but it's is your post getting them more followers? Is your post making them more money? They're really looking at the ROI whenever they're giving cash out for people to make content these days. And that's kind of the only thing that matters now.
So now let's walk through the history of the influencer and where it started and where we're at today.
So kind of since the beginning of time, anytime there was a company, they would always try and slap on a pretty face, a celebrity, just try to sell more product. But being an influencer is a little bit different because oftentimes these people, they're not famous. They are regular, everyday people like you, like me, and they become famous by just sharing about their lives, by being relatable.
So an influencer is someone who builds trust first. Then they monetize the use of their audience. Their power comes from credibility, relatability. It feels like somebody that you actually personally know. I always like to think of someone like Emma Chamberlain. Like she started by doing these long form vlogs on YouTube, and she would talk so much about her personal life that you felt like she was your friend, that you were in the room with her. It wasn't until later as she built her audience that she started monetizing that audience and has created a whole economy out of it.
It's crazy. I always think of her when I think of the term parasocial relationship.
Yes.
And being a celebrity, on the other hand, is completely different. So celebrities are people that have fame for essentially being good at something, right? Like either they're acting, they're singing, they're athletes. They were already famous. And so it's not like they did earn their fame, but not by taking you behind the scenes. A lot of celebrities nowadays, they do take you behind the scenes. They get online, they show you what's in their fridge, they show you what they do to get ready. And I guess like it's important to note here that like, can an influencer become a celebrity, and can a celebrity become an influencer? 100%, right? But I think it's always really important to note like where that person starts off and kind of where they end up. So now let's just create a little bit of a timeline, the history of an influencer. So according to Glow Job, it kind of all starts in 2006 to 2010. This is really the proto-influencer / blogger era.
And the original influencer starts even before Instagram and TikTok, which I know for some of you might blow your minds. There were other things on the internet before Instagram and TikTok, but these were like blogs, forums, and early YouTube. And so in that 2006 era, the main form of media, if you were in beauty, was Vogue. It was just magazines, traditional editorial. And that's why I started to see a lot of these beauty blogs pop up. It was the only other sort of alternative type of media that you could consume.
And during this time, all of these blogs, they were basically like taste-making destinations. You really kind of built a parasocial relationship with the main blogger, whether it was like an online blog or YouTube. Long-form YouTube was huge back then. And people weren't yet making money from brands. Where they were making the money from were ads, traditional ads on the website. Think companies like AdSense. So let's talk about some of the biggest influencers of this era and some of their drama, because why not?
I think the biggest beauty influencer at that time was Michelle Phan.
Oh my God. Yes. I used to love her.
Same. I watched all of her videos. And you know what it was? She was also one of the first Asian faces I saw on YouTube. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I just like naturally gravitated towards her.
I think a lot of people, especially like young Asian girls, really felt that connection with them. Because honestly, people today don't really understand what the pages of Back to Vogue, like what they looked like back then. You did not see people that looked like yourself. And Michelle, for me, was kind of the first.
Same. Honestly, like growing up, the two Asian, I won't even say two. I can say like a few Asian women that I like saw in media were Lucy Liu, Christy Yamaguchi,
Devin Aoki,
Tila Tequila, which was really bad. Like we didn't have that. We had some good ones and then some terrible ones. But Michelle, okay, so she was a huge beauty YouTuber. She would do these beauty tutorials that people would watch, and they were like 20, 30, 40 minutes long. People would sit and watch the entire video and be enthralled. She later went on to co-found a brand, M Cosmetics, which at its peak was worth over $500 million, which honestly is so impressive. But Michelle took a hiatus from beauty blogging and YouTube in 2015. So this is kind of when she takes a little step back from YouTube and influencing. And then she doesn't return back into the influencer space until 2019. And this is when the drama kind of starts. In 2022, she posted this Instagram about how she had just gone to a meditation retreat and that she had healed a man who was previously in a wheelchair, and through the power of her mind was able to make him walk again, and he danced at said retreat. So, you know, obviously some of Michelle's followers were a little confused as to what this content was.
I remember I thought she got hacked. Like it was just so out of left field. Because also keep in mind, she really only talked about beauty until this, right?
Yeah. No, it was pretty much always just like, let's do a full beat. Oh, I love this product. Like, and then it's like, I healed a man with my mind. So she went to this retreat that was branded as, I'm going to quote this because this is on their website, a new model of consciousness to discover the signs and shifts that demonstrate your successful connection to the quantum field and deepen your understanding of how the mind creates a new reality. So these retreats were run by this man, Dr. Joe Dispenza, And by the way, he's not a real doctor. He's a chiropractor.
Hey, red flag.
Yes. So Dr. Joe sells these meditation retreats and classes. And his retreats, they start at $2,500. Like, they're not cheap. You know, you're going there for the weekend to study meditation, I guess. And he brands himself as this doctor, a fake doctor, who apparently healed himself in the 80s after a cycling accident. And he says he healed himself through his mind, and that you can heal any sort of disease or ailment through meditation. And he's saying you can heal like cancer, infertility, like legitimate diseases by meditating. Thoughts?
That is absolutely crazy. I mean, to me, it's kind of like one of those like cult gurus a little bit,
Yes.
right? Like, that is nuts.
I know. And so Michelle had detailed about her experience at this retreat. And so basically it was like, I think like a 4 or 5 day retreat where they were only allowed to sleep for 4 hours. They would wake up at 3 a.m., then meditate for 5 hours straight with no bathroom breaks. Like, this actually sounds like physical torture.
I mean, that is sleep deprivation right there. That is and you're paying someone to do this.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Before she did the meditation retreats, I think it was in the 2010s, she had posted a video talking about how she recommended using a mixture of unused cat litter and lemon juice as an exfoliating treatment to people. But, you know, that's a really dangerous combo to use because that can actually cause chemical burns.
Yeah. Do not put lemon juice on your face or cat litter. Put skincare on your face.
Exactly.
But oh my God.
Yeah. And so ever since then, you know, she's moved more and more away from like traditional beauty content, and now has started posting a lot of stuff about like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Sometimes she even like encourages her followers to buy certain coins. It's just a really wild trajectory from going like big beauty YouTube to like this.
Wow, that is absolutely insane. And it's so wild because like there are so many influencers that start off as content creators, beauty, fashion, whatever, and then take hard left turns. Another story about an influencer, and this woman almost went to jail, but Chiara Ferragni. Do you remember her?
Yes.
Blonde salad?
Yes.
So she was mostly a blogger. She didn't have an Instagram, but like her blog, The Blonde Salad, was everything. And she is this like very beautiful, very fashionable Italian influencer. And she started with a blog, and she really did kind of like climb her way up into being a darling of the fashion industry. She was sitting front row at every fashion show, like Dior designed her wedding dress. It was like a big thing. But recently, a couple years ago, she was caught up in the Christmas cake scandal. Essentially, she had partnered with this like Italian cake brand, and she came out with like a pink cake. I guess Christmas cakes are a thing in Italy, but it's like this like semi-sweet giant bread loaf, and it comes in a box. So she branded the box pink, and it was a Chiara Ferragni cake. And on these boxes, she had all of this messaging about volunteering and donating to a children's hospital. And so when people were buying these pink Chiara Ferragni Christmas cakes, they kind of thought that the money and the proceeds would be going to this, you know, for children. But apparently not.
Oof.
I know. So all of these sales, like they did donate money, but it was a preset amount at the beginning of this partnership. So all the money was already donated. Anytime they like people were buying this cake, no one like no charity out there was seeing a cent of this. So the Italian government and a bunch of people actually came after her. They filed a class action lawsuit.
Wow.
And so she got paid like well over $1 million for this deal. Not only was she fined about $1 million and have to pay that back, but they wanted to put her in jail. She was looking at 20 months of jail time, which is a lot. I mean, she's like a mother at this point. She was like on trial for years. It was awful. It wrecked her brand. She lost hundreds of thousands of followers. She lost brand deals with Coca-Cola. And like just recently, the judge decided to just drop the case, but she did have to pay back every single person that bought a cake.
I mean, rightfully so, because it's basically fraudulent. Like, you're pretending. She's misleading consumers, and that's like what's making them want to buy the cake is like, oh, she's doing something good, so I want to contribute and buy this cake, when she's just pocketing the funds.
It is insane. I mean, like, yes, she did give, like, I forget the exact amount that ended up getting donated to charity, but I think it was around like 6 figures, but it was definitely nowhere near what the proceeds were implying, right? Like when all these people are saying, go buy the Chiara Ferragni, like Christmas cake for the children. It's crazy.
And another big influencer during this era is none other than Jeffree Star. He grew his popularity during MySpace era. OG. Yeah, he's like 2000, built a whole internet personality on MySpace. He was one of the early creators on YouTube, joined in 2006, and then created this whole beauty channel. And eventually, he went on to develop his own product line. He had an album. Remember when Jeffree Star was making music? And he was just all around a little chaotic, a little dramatic, definitely said some controversial things.
Problematic for sure.
Very problematic, yeah. And we're going to get into more of his drama that is tied with Tati Westbrook and James Charles a little later as we move down the timeline, but he's a big one.
For sure. And I think like, we'll just end it on a high note. There's a lot of problematic people, but one of the creators I loved the most was Jackie Aina.
Yes.
Such a queen. Honestly, very unproblematic. Like, I will still watch her content to this day to calm down. I know, with the whole like Jackie. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. It's so cute.
Yeah, but oh my God, it was a time, you guys. On YouTube, blogs, it was a thing.
So the next era in being an influencer has to be 2011 to 2014, when Instagram enters the scene. I feel like the visual landscape of what it means to be an influencer really changed. Like the grid on Instagram brought on the flat lays. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Shelfies started popping up left and right. And it was during this time that like being an influencer was just starting to be a real thing. A real title.
Yeah. And I think this is also when brands started paying people for the first time.
Yeah.
Like we actually had a brand, Juliet, their founder, Christina, came on the podcast last year and she was talking to us about how she was one of the first brands to actually start gifting creators. Prior to that, creators were buying their own stuff and they were kind of picking and choosing what they wanted to do. There weren't brands sending these amazing, insane PR packages. But now it's like around this time, the early creators are seeing some success. They're starting to pay attention now.
Let's talk about some of the notable figures of this 2011, 2014, beginning of Instagram era.
So I feel like during this time, I was like starting to become chronically online. This is when my online obsession really started to form. And I just loved how many Asian creators there were.
Yes.
Because just like Michelle Phan, I feel like she inspired so many people. And I'm talking like Ami Song from Song of Style. There was Jen Im, Chriselle Lim, Casey Ho, Susan Yara. And like, it's so crazy because like, I feel like as I'm mentioning all of these names, and even in the last era, prior to that, it's wild of how many of these creators now have brands.
Almost all of them do.
Or at least they tried at one point or another.
Exactly. So during this time period, follower count is king. Like this is the main KPI for most brands that are looking to work with influencers. No one is talking about your return on investment. Like what's performance like? What are we actually getting from this? Not a conversation yet.
And the next era is going to be 2015 to 2018. And for us, this is like big beauty era. This is peak glamour when you think about it. And this is also the time where influencers are raking in insane amounts of cash. The major platforms that everyone was on, it was Instagram, it was YouTube, and Snapchat. And at this time, people are obsessed with influencers. Like people are consuming content and kind of creating these personas and watching them like it's reality TV.
And this is when the influencers realize, oh, I can monetize all this fame and success and create a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And the rise of the influencer brand really pops off. So let's talk about the biggest influencers during this era. And first, we got to talk about Miss Kylie Jenner. Now, I know she feels like a big celebrity today, but back in the day, she was, Kim Kardashian's little sister who had made like a few small appearances on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. No one really knew her until she started posting aggressively on Instagram and created this persona and that parasocial relationship and eventually grew that into Kylie Cosmetics, a whole brand.
It was wild. Like she was King Kylie back in the day. And she would have these like crazy ass wigs.
Mm-hmm.
She had like a million wigs and a million colors. And she was selling her Kylie lip kits like hotcakes. But yeah, I feel like if you told like the Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids today where Kylie started, they wouldn't believe you.
But to me, the peak beauty influencers of this period have to be Tati Westbrook and James Charles. And you guys, we need to break down all the drama that happened between them during this era.
When I think about what happened with James Charles and Tati Westbrook, this was kind of like the biggest like implosion at the time when it came to like influencers and culture and beauty. They call it sistergeddon. And it was more than just like a public beef. It's almost like a case study in like influencer culture in general and cancel culture in general. And it really just changed a lot of the ways that people kind of viewed things like friendships, business, partnerships, everything.
So during this time, James Charles was kind of like YouTube's golden boy. He was like young and fun and wild and talented. Like he was talented with makeup. And Tati Westbrook, she was kind of a veteran in the space. Like she had been posting for a long time on YouTube and she had been trying to become a makeup artist in Los Angeles, but then found success through her YouTube videos of just, doing makeup and talking. And the two of them created a fast friendship where Tati, who's older than James, sort of became like a mentor, like a sister, older sister vibe. And they connected and became very close friends. In fact, James Charles actually did Tati Westbrook's makeup for her wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, that's so sweet.
It was really sweet. And they did a whole video.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about the trajectory of this relationship, it's actually really heartbreaking because they were so close.
And knowing what happens, that's even more sad.
Yes, I know. It actually like makes it so much more heartbreaking. So the two of them, they collaborated. They would promote each other. They always did these crossover videos on YouTube. It was so sweet. And you could really tell like they were integrated in each other's lives. But then everything went downhill starting in April of 2019. So James Charles posted an Instagram story while he was at Coachella of a supplement company called Sugar Bear Hair. Remember that brand that was so popular?
The gummy bear
Yes,
supplements, the blue ones.
I know, crazy. Kim Kardashian did an ad for them too.
So did Kylie.
Yeah. So normally this wouldn't be that big of a deal, but for Tati, this was personal because Tati had a competing supplement brand called Halo Beauty. So Tati felt betrayed here because she had previously asked James to help promote her brand and he had turned her down. So the fact that he was promoting Sugar Bear Hair felt like he was going against her and her brand. Then in May of 2019, Tati, having felt so betrayed, hosted a 43-minute long YouTube video titled Bye Sister. And this is where the internet exploded. In this video, Tati accused James of being disloyal, opportunistic, and also manipulative and inappropriate with straight young men.
And like the backlash to this was insane. James Charles lost so many followers. Literally in history, no one has lost more followers in a short amount of time than James Charles because of this video. People literally had counters. Someone online made a counter where they were counting how many followers he was losing every single second of every single day. He lost 3 million followers in 1 week.
Oh my God.
And while all of this was happening to James Charles, everyone was on Team Tati. She was getting so much love, but James eventually decided to stick up for himself. And so he released a video on YouTube called No More Lies. And in this, he came hot and ready with receipts. And receipts was kind of like one of the biggest words at this day, right? Like, I honestly feel like, you know how what was it? 6-7 was dictionary.com's word of the year. Like receipts would have been this era's word of the year. No, he came packed with receipts, just really exposing Tati and saying oh, you're the bad person, not me. And it really started to shift public opinion a little bit. And I don't know, I feel like Tati, I don't know if she dealt with it the best way. She started pointing fingers. She even went so far as to say oh, the only reason why I posted Bye Sister is because Jeffree Star is back. Problematic as ever, Jeffree Star told me to. And he told me that I had to do it and I had to stick up for myself. She was just going through a really hard time at this point.
So eventually, James and his online, accounts and everything, they stabilized. He started getting a lot more followers again. He was posting content again, and things were more normal. His reputation changed ever so slightly, but business as usual. Tati, on the other hand, took a step back. She actually took a hiatus from posting content, YouTube, Instagram, everything. And at the same time this drama was going down, Tati also had her own makeup brand. And it was this palette. I think it was just called like
The Tati Westbrook palette.
Yes, yeah. And it was like a really beautiful neutral palette. And obviously she always had ambitions to do a makeup brand. You started to notice her pulling back from that business as well. And she was posting kind of like cryptic stuff. It later turned out that, her business partner who started that brand with her was suing her for control over that brand and her, yes, I know, and her vitamin brand. And then it became this really messy lawsuit. So she just has this fallout with her best friend, James. She's going through legal troubles over her business because her business owner is saying that he owns the IP that she says he doesn't own. All this stress weighs on her and her marriage. And at one point, her and her husband, I think they separated. Luckily, they're still back together. But like this poor woman just had like storm after storm after. It was a mess.
That is insane. And the way this all ended, it's pretty sad. They never reconciled. I don't know if they ever will at this point, right? It's been so long now. And, all of like the teary-eyed apology videos and like all of like the throwing of receipts, that was all kind of done. And as you said, James Charles, still very much around, still very much an influencer to this day. I think now he kind of has this like, not like bad boy persona, but like a little bit, like he's kind of known to be like a little bit of a troublemaker, a little bit problematic now. But, Tati, I think she's now starting to come back a little bit.
She's back.
Yeah. So like just last year alone, she even launched a new company, Details by Tati.
Mm-hmm.
They make brushes. So I'm just, I'm so happy for her.
Her lawsuit was fixed and settled. And she finally got that behind her. Her and her husband are still together. They moved to Texas. It sounds like she got like a new start and a new lease on life. And now she's back to doing what she loves, which is like being on YouTube. So moving along on our influencer timeline, let's go into 2019 to 2020. So this is kind of like peak influencer. And it's starting to get oversaturated in the space. Too many influencers, too many ads, not enough trust.
And so I think you really nailed it when you said there was not enough trust. Because right now, at this time, again, did it peak or even kind of go on the decline? Because what's happening is for the first time, the FTC is getting involved. There's new regulations getting put into place. Until then, all these creators, they were just cranking out a ton of content, pushing all of these different products. And people didn't really know if it was real, if it was not. So the FTC started to state that if you're going to make an ad, and if a company is paying you to promote a product, you better make sure that people can know that this is an ad. It used to be kind of like covered. You couldn't really tell, like, does this person genuinely love it or not? But now you have to start using the hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor, and you can't hide it anywhere. It has to be like really apparent either in the script or in the captions themselves. And this changed everything, in my opinion, because now people are starting to realize like, oh my God, everything is an ad.
Yeah, it like cracked the veneer of what felt like, oh, this is my best friend telling me her favorite like hair supplement. And like, no, she's getting paid to tell you this is her favorite supplement. Now we're moving into 2020 and 2022. So two things happened during this time. One is COVID. And two is TikTok. It has changed everything.
It was wild. So, for the first time in history, everyone is at home. They're all locked in, doing nothing. And kind of out of nowhere, TikTok seems to pop up. First time, it was like this democratization of being a creator. No one had a following. Everyone had to start from 0 follower account. And it really opened the floodgates for all of these new creators because you're at home, you have all this free time, and you now have an opportunity to get on that FYP, to go viral.
So during this time, Instagram has already turned into a very polished platform. It's no longer what it used to be in like 2010, 2011. And everyone is living a super curated facade. Like you have the best photo of yourself, like the photo where you look like you're really skinny and your butt looks huge because you're tilted to the side. You know what I'm talking about.
I know the pose.
But TikTok was different in that the videos that did the best felt like they were the most unpolished. And like a creator that I'm thinking about that you and I both love so much is Chris Yao.
Oh my God, Chris.
He's so hilarious. He is this gay man who just does these like stream of consciousness like videos of him talking. But the angle is what's so hilarious because he always films from below his chin. So it's the most unflattering angle. And it just feels like he's just talking to you as a friend.
I know. And in real life, he's like handsome and has a nice bod.
Yeah.
Like, like he doesn't like look like this all the time.
Yes.
And there were so many creators that exploded out of nowhere at this time. And we're talking Charli D'Amelio and I guess her sister Dixie, right?
Mhm.
But Charli D'Amelio, she literally had the fastest follower count growth of all time, which is nuts. And like Addison Rae.
Oh my
right?
God, yes.
Like nowadays, she's like pop star celebrity. But back then, she was like TikTok, dancing. I know she like tried to do a little beauty founder stint for a little bit. But these girls were it when it came to TikTok.
So the big takeaway here is that influencing becomes way easier to enter, but much harder to sustain.
So the next era we want to get into is kind of the 2023 to 2025, what we like to call the professionalization era. Influencers are pros at this point.
And I think that's also a big distinction between all these different eras of the influencer economy. Now we're getting to a point where ordinary people can monetize in a way that was not possible in 2006, 2010, 2015, even 2020. Now, anybody can participate in the influencer economy.
So let's break down what is a UGC creator. First and foremost, forget about the idea of having a following or an audience. Anybody, and I do mean anybody, can be a UGC creator. All you need is a phone, and all you need is the ability to make a video about something that someone else will want to watch. Again, it has nothing to do with having an audience, and that also means it has nothing to do with you as a person. But brands, they love video content. They want to see all different types of people using their products. So they will pay someone and not give a shit about who is following them just so they can have a video of someone using their product, and they'll pay you for it.
It's wild because traditional media, Mad Men era day, right? Of selling ads, and even the way that we've consumed advertising for most of the 2000s was full-blown production of a set, right? You're paying for the director, the actors, the talent on set, and you would produce this ad, throw it on TV and be like, buy my product. Nowadays, brands have even told us that the content that performs the best and converts to real purchases is actually the UGC content, where it's a normal, ordinary person selling leggings, lipstick, skincare versus the shiny, glossy advertisement.
It's wild. I mean, we had Ryan Roth on from Peter Thomas Roth, and he was telling us that there was a woman who's a fan. They didn't pay her. She just wanted to make a video for her friends and neighbors about their eye firming treatment. And that video, when she posted it, got 40 million views and sold out the product. And it was sold out for months, right? And so that is just the power of what a random person's video can do.
So now that the influencer economy has really become a monetizing machine and a true creator economy, we also started seeing the rise of adjacent businesses that are tied to influencing. And some of these include affiliate marketing, creator managers, managing talent, influencer tracking, attribution software, and also shoppable UGC platforms like Shopify.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify has $1 billion valuation. But the talent manager thing you mentioned, that one always blows my mind. Because when you think about A-list celebrities, Brad Pitt, Demi Moore, whoever you can think of, they all have talent managers. And a lot of times, especially in LA, we know the big brands, UTA, CCA, these influencers, these big ones, they have the same talent managers from the same companies.
So now that brings us to 2026 today. And the big question here is, has influencing peaked? The short answer is influencing hasn't peaked, but the old model of influencing definitely has.
So when we think about the old model, it's really just two things that we're considering. One is getting paid just to post. That is definitely a thing of the past. It's kind of six-figure deals for one-time things. No, not really. And another thing is your follower count. It really doesn't matter as much. Brands don't care how many followers you have.
Yeah, it's about the conversion. It's about the performance. If you have 20,000 followers, but super high engagement, they're probably going to pay you just as much, if not more, than someone who has double or triple that, but super low engagement.
Exactly. When we talk about this larger creator economy and all of the brands, there have also been a lot of tech companies that have spawned up during this time. And we actually had a chance to sit down with co-founder Nicole Clay of Hue. And this is a company that's using AI to essentially connect brands with more UGC creators. I think when people want to shop, what they want to see is like, what is this shirt going to look like on my body? What is this foundation going to look like on my skin type? And a lot of times you don't always want to look at these models to try and guess. You want to see real people. And that's one of the things that Hue is really focusing on, and just getting a really deep understanding of what kind of content converts the best.
We hope you guys enjoy our conversation with Nicole.
So we've talked a lot about how the creator and influencer space has changed a lot over the years. It feels like creators are now being judged more like media channels versus just personalities.
That kind of brings us up to Hue. You really sit at the intersection of creators, of commerce, as well as tech. Where do you see the creator economy going?
The creator economy is not slowing down. If anything, it's being expanded and redefined.
It feels like with the rise of the UGC creator, people don't just want fame necessarily, like they're chasing income. Why do you think that brands are increasingly tapping these UGC creators versus, sort of like the traditional influencer or traditional media campaigns?
Customers and creators, like they're losing a bit of trust. You don't know what's real. You don't know, if someone is telling you the truth, whether that's the brand or a mega influencer. So there's so much opportunity for an everyday person or a smaller creator to come in there because of the opportunity for people to make money as like a real person. Because think about how you shop. Like I shop by what my friends tell me, or I'm searching on TikTok, this product, insert someone like me, and I'm looking to hear from a peer. Customers are becoming so savvy to sniff out the lies. If you don't really love this product, then I can tell. If a brand is paying you to speak only positively about this product, I can tell. And the ads that we create and the ads that we run for brands, the ones that perform the most are like, hey, it's not like, oh, go out. It's like the infomercials. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Like those ads aren't the ones that are driving performance. It's like, hey, I'm a mother and I have 2 kids. My life is super busy. Look at this amazing tool, this amazing product that I've been using that has saved me so much time and energy and has made my life so much happier. Like that is genuine. And that is true to their experience as a parent and as a mother. That is why UGC is working so much better. Brands have budget for it. Last year I spoke with 2,000 plus brands. All of them said they're increasing their budget for influencer. But by influencer, I mean like micro creators. They're trying to tap into their customers. They're trying to build community. They're trying to find the everyday person who can speak about their brand and be the evangelist for their brands.
Yeah, I think authenticity has become like such a big word in the zeitgeist these days, but it's true. I mean, I remember when we were younger and let's say we'd be watching MTV, Nickelodeon, whatever. And we'd see all these ads come on with all of these celebrities, and these celebrities, who are big A-list celebrities, they would be like, oh yeah, I use Neutrogena face wipes. But in reality, I'm like, do you?
Really?
I don't know if you do. But I think now when you can actually see someone who does choose to use a drugstore product or, maybe any product, it doesn't really matter, but you can actually kind of envision that product having a place in their day-to-day lives versus SpawnCon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. We actually see in the data, which is very interesting, that when a brand puts a video, whether that's an influencer video or their own branded video on their website, if they then put a UGC video on their website, UGC video outperforms the branded or the influencer content every time. It's not about a 5-star review that's a rave and the energy at the point of sale. When the person is ready to transact, they've already fallen in love with your brand. They've been convinced that your packaging is beautiful and that, the lifestyle is aspirational. What they want to know is, will this work for me? And really, the UGC creators and the micro creators are the ones to tell that peer-to-peer story. It's not the celebrity with the face wipes. I don't know if you're really using that in your day-to-day. I want to hear from someone who actually is, please. Let's say I'm talking to a brand for the first time and I tell them that. They're like, oh, our content's fine. It's great. We'll launch both. Let's launch a video module where we have our branded content and we'll put the UGC in there and see how it performs. So I don't know if they truly believe us. And then after 4 weeks of performance and we have the data, we're like, hey, as we told you in the beginning, this UGC is really what your customers are watching. Like customers are staying on for 60 to like 110 extra seconds on the website. And what they're looking for, again, it's not to be sold on the product, it's to be convinced that it works for them. So the content needs to answer relevant questions. It needs to relate to the buyer.
That makes sense. I literally do that. Like when I see real people using product, like that's the thing I want to linger on because I'm like, you look like a similar skin tone to me. Like maybe there's some similar texture. Let's figure out like, can this work for me? It's very much a personal relationship. I feel like a lot of what Hue does could not have been possible even just a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious, Nicole, how do you think AI has helped you guys grow, manage, scale the UGC content that you guys produce?
Brands come to us and like the number one thing, we need content. We need more content. We need like an endless amount of content. The limit does not exist. So we've generated over 40,000 videos. And so we have the data to know what hooks work. At what point in the video are customers converting? Is it when a pack shot is shown? Is it when you say a specific thing? So we're generating very custom briefs for brands, knowing what will convert for them or not instantly.
That is so cool. Like actually being able to know like what singular shot within a UGC video performs best at what time so you can make those recommendations.
And we see all the add to cart happen at that point. Like, that's something that you don't discover unless you have access to the data.
So looking forward into the future, Nicole, how do you think the creator influencer landscape will change in years to come? And what do you think is going to matter more and what's going to matter less?
What will matter more is education. And I'm thinking future. You're asking for a vision here. I believe that the next generation of shopping is, of course, AI commerce. Right now, that shopping is an add to cart button from a text recommendation. Data that's used for that can be powered by video. So if you're a creator and you're creating educational content, like ChatGPT can use that information to source recommendations when someone's searching. The more value you're creating, like I think the content will shift from being like still entertaining, but more intellectual, but more like education, and you're answering questions that both the customer and the AI search systems would like. The number two is that I think, as we discussed this earlier, there will be a broader definition about what a creator is. You will have traditional influencers, UGC creators, micro nano creators. You'll start seeing more brand ambassadors. So there's just more opportunity coming for the micro nano creator than ever before.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole. This was so fun and fascinating to hear from you, our subject matter expert here.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. It's such a fun topic, and I hope it was helpful to your audience.